welcome back. Now we're on the 20th day of Aslan. So for us, Christmas is getting closer and closer as we hear our story. So yesterday we ended with they heard a bugle sound. They heard a bugle sound. So here we go. "It is your sister's horn," said Aslan to Peter in a low voice. Do you remember she got that as one of her Christmas gifts? So low as to be almost a purr, if it is not disrespectful to think of a lion purring. For a moment, Peter did not understand. Then, when he saw all the other creatures start forward, and heard Aslan say with a wave of his paw, "Back, let the prince win his spurs," he did understand, and set off running as hard as he could to the pavilion. And there he saw a dreadful sight. The naiads and dryads were scattering in every direction. Lucy was running toward him as fast as her short legs would carry her, and her face was as white as paper. Then he saw Susan make a dash for a tree and swing herself up, followed by a huge gray beast. At first, Peter thought it was a bear. Then he saw that it looked like an Alsatian, though it was far too big to be a dog. Then he realized that it was a wolf standing on its hind legs with its front paws against the tree trunk, snapping and snarling. All the hair on its back stood up on end. Susan had not been able to get higher than the second big branch. One of her legs hung down so that her foot was only an inch or two above the snapping teeth. Peter wondered why she did not get higher, or at least take a better grip. Then he realized that she was just going to faint, and that if she fainted, she would fall off. Peter did not feel very brave. Indeed, he felt he was going to be sick. But that made no difference to what he had to do. He rushed straight up to the monster and aimed a slash of his sword at its side. That stroke never reached the wolf. Quick as lightning, it turned round, its eyes flaming, and its mouth wide open in a howl of anger. It had not been so angry that if it had not been so angry that it simply had to howl, it would have got him by the throat at once. As it was, though all this happened too quickly for Peter to think at all, he had just time to duck down and plunge his sword as hard as he could between the brute's forelegs into his heart. Then came a horrible, confused moment like something in a nightmare. He was tugging and pulling, and the wolf seemed neither alive nor dead, and its bared teeth knocked against his forehead, and everything was blood and heat and hair. And a moment later he found that the monster lay dead, and he had drawn his sword out of it and was straightening his back and rubbing the sweat off his face and out of his eyes. He felt tired all over. Then, after a bit, Susan came down the tree. She and Peter felt pretty shaky when they met, and I won't say there wasn't kissing and crying on both sides. But in Narnia, no one thinks any the worse of you for that. "Quick! Quick!" shouted the voice of Aslan. "Centaurs! Eagles! I see another wolf in the thickets, there, behind you. He has just darted away. After him, all of you. He will be going to his mistress. Now is your chance to find the witch and rescue the fourth son of Adam." And instantly, with a thunder of hooves and beating of wings, a dozen or so of the swiftest creatures disappeared into the gathering darkness. Peter, still out of breath, turned and saw Aslan close at hand. "You have forgotten to clean your sword," said Aslan. It was true. Peter blushed when he looked at the bright blade and saw it all smeared with the wolf's hair and blood. He stooped down and wiped it quite clean on the grass, and then wiped it quite dry on his coat. "Hand it to me and kneel, son of Adam," said Aslan. And when Peter had done so, he struck him with the flat of the blade and said, "Rise up, Sir Peter, wolfsbane, and whatever happens, never forget to wipe your sword." Wolfsbane means enemy of wolves. He was trying to kill Susan, wasn't he? He was chasing after Susan, and he had come to kill them. So Peter had to defend himself, and Aslan made him a knight, didn't he? So now we're in chapter 13. Let's keep reading for a couple more minutes. This chapter 13 is called Deep Magic from the Dawn of Time. Well, now we must get back to Edmund. When he had been made to walk far further than he had ever known that anybody could walk, The witch at last halted in a dark valley all overshadowed with fir trees and yew trees. Edmund simply sank down and lay on his face, doing nothing at all, and not even caring what was going to happen next, provided they would just let him lie still. He was too tired even to notice how hungry and thirsty he was. The witch and the dwarf were talking close beside him in low tones. "No," said the dwarf, "it is no use now, O Queen. They must have reached the stone table by now." "Perhaps the wolf will smell us out and bring us news," said the witch. "It cannot be good news if he does," said the dwarf. "4 thrones in Cair Paravel," said the witch. "How if only 3 were filled? That would not fulfill the prophecy." "What difference would that make now that he is here?" said the dwarf. He did not dare, even now, to mention the name of Aslan to his mistress. "He may not stay long, and then we would fall upon the 3 at Cair." "Yet it might be better," said the dwarf, "to keep this one," here he kicked Edmund, "for bargaining with." "Yes, and have him rescued," said the witch scornfully. "Then," said the dwarf, "we had better do what we have to do at once." "I would like to have done it on the stone table itself," said the witch. "That is the proper place. That is where it has always been done before." They're planning something terrible. "It will be a long time now before the stone table can be put again to its proper use," said the dwarf. "True," said the witch, and then, "Well, I will begin." At that moment, with a rush and a snarl, a wolf rushed up to them. "I have seen them. They are all at the stone table, with him. They have killed my captain, Malgrim. I was hidden in the thickets and saw it all. One of the sons of Adam killed him. Fly! Fly!" "No," said the witch. "There need be no flying. Go quickly. Summon all our people to meet me here as speedily as they can. Call out the giants and the werewolves and the spirits of those trees who are on our side. Call the ghouls and the bogles, the ogres and the minotaurs. Call the cruels, the hags, the spectres, and the people of the toadstools. We will fight. What? Have I not still my wand? Will not their ranks turn into stone even as they come on? Be off quickly. I have a little thing to finish here while you are away." The great brute bowed its head, turned, and galloped away. "Now," said she, "we have no table. Let me see. We had better put it against the trunk of a tree." See how she's calling him it? She's not even talking about him as a person. Planning a terrible thing. Edmund found himself being roughly forced to his feet. Then the dwarf set him with his back against a tree and bound him fast. He saw the witch take off her outer mantle. Her arms were bare underneath and terribly white. Because they were so very white, he could see them, but he could not see much else. It was so dark in this valley under the dark trees. And we're going to stop right there. And so we are going to count on Aslan and the people that he sent to rescue Edmund. We'll see what happens because the witch is planning a bad thing. And so that's how this story goes. There are hard things, and Aslan will work hard to make them right. So we hope that you have a good night, and bless everyone at your house, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.